methods are most used. I will tell you about the positives to desalination, how much it costs, the criticism, and then my conclusion of the bibliography. So basically, desalination is a process that removes salt and minerals from saline water. Saline water is desalinated to produce pure water, which is the water that we drink. It is mostly used on ships and submarines. It's used on ships and submarines because you can only take a certain amount of food and water onto the ship. And because you're surrounded by salt water, the most easy way to have fresh water on you is to take that salt water and to desalinate it. The main goal of desalination is to provide fresh water in a cost-friendly way. Why is desalination important? I'm telling you about desalination because it is saving lives all over the world by providing water for everybody around us. Without it, we would die of thirst because eventually we will run out of water. And because we can take water from the ocean, there's a slimmer chance of us running out of water. It's not a very popular topic, but it should be because it's saving lives, and it is happening all around us, and we are completely unaware. There are many methods to desalination. The methods to desalination are reverse osmosis, forward osmosis, electrodialysis, thermal desalination, multi-stage flash desalination, and multiple effect desalination. The methods that are most used are reverse osmosis and multi-stage flash desalination. The reason why they're the most used is because reverse osmosis uses less amount of energy, and multi-stage flash desalination currently produces the most desalinated water. Reverse osmosis is basically pressure pushing onto the water, and the water falls through a membrane. This membrane prevents salt and minerals from coming through into the fresh water. So in the end, and on top of the membrane, you'll have the salt and the minerals, and underneath the membrane, you'll have fresh water. It is the least energy consuming of all the methods. Multi-stage flash desalination is when water is heated multiple times, which is the method that most of us here would know. It's basically evaporation. It's usually built alongside power plants because of the wasted heat from the power plants. So it's easier to use the heat from the power plants to evaporate the water. An example of multi-stage flash desalination is, God forbid, any of us are ever stuck on an island one day and there's seawater around you. You can take the seawater and put it in some type of bucket or maybe a coconut since you're on an island, and you leave it out in the sun. Eventually, or after a couple of hours, all the salt and the minerals that's in the seawater will evaporate, and you can drink that water. So in this diagram, as you can see, the water is going in, and then in the first stage, it is put through high temperature and high pressure. And then the second stage, it goes through that again, and in the third stage, there's low temperature and low pressure. So then you're left with fresh water because of all the heat. There are many positives to desalination. The reason why desalination is so important is because 97% of the water in our world contains salt. 3% isn't enough for 7 billion in the world people to live off of. So we have to make sure we have fresh water. It helps prevent droughts in a lot of countries, mainly the countries that don't have many lakes or rivers. Some methods are less expensive than other processes, and it is used in many countries that need water, such as Saudi Arabia, United Arabia, Emirates, and Israel, Spain. The United States uses it also. Algeria, China, India, Australia, and Aruba. It's important in these countries because they have most desert land, so without any lakes or rivers near them, they need to be able to provide fresh water for the people there, or they possibly die, or they will die. A problem with desalination is its cost. Desalination market is expected to reach $87.8 billion by 2016. The maintenance cost for multi-stage flash desalination is really high. Even though it produces the most amount of water, the pumps and the high pressure systems cost a lot of money for every country that uses it, and in the end, it costs more money than reverse osmosis, which is why reverse osmosis is more used. There's a lot of other criticisms for desalination. It's very costly, especially multi-stage flash desalination. The wasted salt gets put back into the ocean, which really, if you think about it, doesn't make a lot of sense, because then when you go back into the ocean to get more water, there's double or triple the amount of salt. So it'll take more time and energy to take the salt out of that water, and it'll cost more. So really, it's not helping our situation. The extra salt can harm our ocean life, and it uses fossil fuels, which is an even bigger problem. So you're really creating two environmental problems at once. And transporting water to other countries is very expensive. In conclusion, desalination creates fresh water that we can drink. There are many methods to it. It is very expensive. It is preventing droughts in many countries, and there are many negatives of